And joining us now by Skype is Chief Political Analyst David Brody. David, what do you make of these latest allegations concerning Kavanaugh and the upcoming hearing?
Well, there's so much to unpack, Jenna and John. It doesn't look good for Kavanaugh, quite frankly. And why is that? There's so many different reasons, but let's just start with the hashtag #MeToo movement. I mean, if Clarence Thomas was in this environment 20 plus years ago, there would be a very strong chance that he wouldn't even be on the Supreme Court right now. I mean, so you really have to take the pulse of the country, the mood of the country, and, sexual assault is sexual assault. In this case, you've got the culture that is really weighing heavily in all of this discussion. So I think that's a big part of it. Look, Democrats played, dirty tricks, dirty last-second tricks. But you know what? They're not the first politicians to do it. And so I even question if we're even going to get to this Monday hearing with Brett Kavanaugh and the accuser. We'll see. We may. But at this point, this feels like a drip, drip, drip scenario.
David, who is the onus really on here? Is it on the accuser, Dr. Christine Blasey Ford, or Judge Kavanaugh? Does it really boil down to who's more credible on the witness stand?
Yeah, I think credibility is going to have a lot to do with it. I don't think the onus is on either one, honestly. I mean, it sounds like it's going to be a he said versus she said. However, there was another guy apparently as part of that incident. So now we're not quite sure how much his role is going to be in all of this. One big red flag, guys, that I have seen is that now Judge Kavanaugh, Brett Kavanaugh, is denying that he was even at that party. Now, to me, that's a major, major issue, because if she can at least prove that, in essence, he was there and there are other people to corroborate that he was there, well, that makes him out to be a liar, and then it's game, set, match. It's over. So at this point, it's not even so much about the incident. I mean, it is about the incident, clearly, but there's another layer. And that layer is, was he even there? He's saying he wasn't even there and that she's mistaken. I think that could be the real rub here.
Yeah, not a lot of wiggle room. David, many observers are drawing comparisons between how things are unfolding at this 11th hour with Kavanaugh and the Clarence Thomas hearings with Anita Hill. What are your thoughts there?
Exact same thing. It's the exact same thing. And for Kavanaugh, as I was just saying earlier, even worse because of the hashtag #MeToo movement. I don't think there's any question about it. And so Democrats did this with Joe Biden and Ted Kennedy. And in essence, they went ahead and what Clarence Thomas called at the time a high-tech lynching. It was a he said versus she said situation. The difference now, hashtag #MeToo, and that's why I think Kavanaugh is in a lot of trouble.
You know, you just mentioned the Me Too era that we're in. I would imagine Republicans have to be a little extra cautious in how they handle the accuser to avoid looking like they're a party that's against women.
Right. I think that's here we go. There's so many layers. Like, here's another layer. Yeah, they have to be concerned about that. They're already in some somewhat dire straits with suburban, moderate women in the suburbs as it relates to the midterm elections. And even before that, they were in a bit of trouble. I think it's been interesting that Donald Trump, at least for the time being, and, check back with me in a minute and a half, but he's been relatively quiet on Twitter and other places. We'll see. I know McConnell and others are saying, hey, keep it zipped. But no one tells Donald Trump to keep it zipped for too long.
That's for sure.
From a political standpoint, how much of a stain, David, is this on Kavanaugh's nomination and his reputation in the future? And will this be, his scarlet letter?
Yeah, it's a major hit. Beyond a major hit, I mean, this is what, let's be honest, he has worked for his entire life. He wanted to be a U.S. Supreme Court justice, and he's very much, that's all very much in jeopardy now. I do want to point back to one other interesting article that's out there. Brett Kavanaugh wrote about the drunken college days. If you go, this is not fake news, this is real news. He actually talked about this, wrote about it, spoke about it in his college days. So that the Democrats, at least, are saying that lends some credibility to that he would have maybe done something like this in high school as well. So I just think that's talk about layers, another layer as well for Kavanaugh.
David, one quick final question. You just alluded to it with the midterms. How do you think this is going to shake out when it comes to the midterm election? Do you think that this might actually motivate Republicans who are thinking they weren't as motivated or weren't as excited to go to the polls, knowing that the Supreme Court justice hangs in the balance? Or do you think this might tip the scales for the so-called blue wave?
Yeah, it feels like a bit like a silver lining here for the Republicans. Now, of course, for Brett Kavanaugh, if indeed he withdraws his nomination or it doesn't go through, obviously it's devastating for Judge Kavanaugh, and Donald Trump will take a 24 to 48 hour to 72 hit from the media, and the Republicans will take a hit. But then comes the silver lining potentially, which is, will it motivate the base of the Republican Party? Judges, very important, but the evangelicals within the Republican Party, this is a tier A issue for evangelicals. So will it motivate them to say, hey, wait a minute, Democrats are playing dirty politics, we don't like it, and we're going to step up and make our voices heard. So in essence, it actually could help Republicans, which is kind of curious all along. Dianne Feinstein, I've just always wondered about the play here. I get the idea that you want to take down Kavanaugh, but there's two problems with that. One, you may get someone more conservative. Hello, Amy Coney Barrett, paging her. And then beyond that, you have the issue of that things were going just fine for the Democrats. It looked like they were going to potentially take over the House, maybe even the Senate. And now you have a chance to kind of rally the base on the Republican side. I think this can come back to haunt them. We'll see. Right now, not good for Kavanaugh.
It'll be interesting to see how it plays out.
Yeah, we will see. All right, David Brody, we always appreciate your insight and your analysis. Thank you very much.
Thanks, guys.